Yo, what's up everyone? If you've been following the tech space at all lately, you know it's been a weird time for smartphones. The global market's been kind of sluggish, sales are down, and a lot of brands are feeling the pressure. But then, there's Apple. They're not just weathering the storm, they're actually market share. Let's dive into why. First up, let's talk economics. The global economy has seen some major shifts in recent years, and believe it or not, that plays a big role in Apple's success. We've seen rising incomes in developing countries. More people than ever are entering the middle class, and guess what? They want smartphones. Now, I'm not saying everyone who can suddenly afford a phone is running out to buy an iPhone, but it means that the pool of potential iPhone buyers is growing. Apple's premium pricing strategy actually works in their favor here. As more people move up the income ladder, that premium price tag becomes attainable for a larger group. Think about it like this. If you're used to a certain standard of living, you're more likely to spend a bit more for a product you perceive as higher quality or more desirable. Apple's brand plays heavily into this. It's not just a phone, Analysts predict that global incomes will continue to rise, especially in regions where smartphone penetration is still relatively low. This means that the number of people who can afford an iPhone and who the Apple experience is only going to increase. It's a numbers game, and right now, the numbers are in Apple's favor. In many parts of the world, owning an iPhone is seen as a status symbol. It's a sign of success, of being part of a globalized, tech-savvy community. And for people who are just entering that world, that kind of aspiration is incredibly powerful. So, while other companies are struggling to adapt to a changing market, Apple's positioned themselves perfectly to capitalize on it. Their premium pricing, combined with their aspirational brand image, makes them phone to have for a growing segment of the global population. Let's be real. Apple products have always held a certain allure. They've mastered the art of making their devices feel like more than just gadgets. They're status symbols. This aspirational brand image is a factor in their success. Apple products are sleek, they're minimalist, they just premium. And that premium feel comes at a price. But here's the thing, that price tag is part of what makes them so desirable. It's basic supply and demand, mixed with a healthy dose of psychology. When something is expensive, we automatically associate it with quality, exclusivity, and yes, even status. It's like a luxury car or a designer handbag. You're not just paying for the product itself, you're buying into the image, the lifestyle it represents, and Apple has cultivated that image brilliantly. They position themselves as the brand for creatives, for innovators, for people who want the best of the best. And because their products are so visible, everyone from celebrities to your next-door neighbor has an iPhone, that aspirational image is constantly reinforced. This is especially powerful in emerging markets where brand consciousness is on the rise. People want to align themselves with brands that reflect their aspirations, their desire for a better life. And Apple, with its aura of sophistication and innovation, fits the bill perfectly. But it's not just about looking successful, it's also about feeling part of something bigger. Apple has created a sense of community around its products. When you buy an iPhone, you're not just buying a phone, you're buying into the Apple ecosystem, the Apple lifestyle. And that sense of belonging, of being part of something exclusive, is incredibly appealing. It's a powerful motivator that keeps people coming back for more, even if it means shelling out a little or a lot extra. Okay, let's talk about the Apple ecosystem. This is something Android users love to debate, but there's no denying that Apple's got this whole interconnected device thing down pat. It's seamless, it's convenient, and it's a major factor in keeping people glued to iPhones. Think about it, you've got your iPhone, your AirPods, your MacBook, maybe even an Apple Watch, all working together effortlessly. Your messages sync across devices, you can answer calls on your iPad, airdrop that photo to your Mac instantly. It just works. And that seamless experience is incredibly compelling. It's not just about convenience either, it's about the feeling of being the ecosystem. Features like iMessage, FaceTime, and AirDrop work best when everyone's on an Apple device, and that creates a powerful network effect. The more people who use these features, the more valuable they become. It's like a social network. The more friends you have on it, the more likely you are to stick around. And Apple's leveraged this masterfully. They've created a closed loop where their devices work best together, encouraging users to stay within the Apple ecosystem for the optimal experience. And once you're in, it's hard to leave. You're invested, both financially and in terms of the time and effort it takes to learn and adapt to a new system. This is especially true for families. Once you've got everyone in the family using iPhones and sharing photo albums, calendars, and reminders, switching to a different platform becomes a major hassle. But it's not just about keeping people locked in. This interconnected ecosystem also enhances the value proposition of individual Apple products. When you buy an iPhone, you're not just buying a phone, you're buying into an entire ecosystem of devices and services that work together seamlessly. And that's a powerful selling point, especially when you compare it to the often fragmented experience of using different Android devices from various manufacturers. Apple's ecosystem is a well-oiled machine, and it's a major reason why people keep coming back for more. Now let's talk about market maturity. The smartphone market is no longer the new kid on the block. It's been around long enough that in many parts of the world, it's reached a point of saturation. Most people who want a smartphone already have one. So, what happens in a mature market? Well, the focus shifts from acquiring new customers to retaining existing ones. And this is where Apple truly shines. They've always excelled at creating a loyal customer base, and in a mature market, that loyalty is more valuable than ever. See, in a mature market, the pace of innovation tends to slow down. We're not seeing those huge, revolutionary leaps in technology with every new phone release anymore. Instead, it's about refinement, about making existing features better and more seamless. And guess what? Apple's good at that. They're not afraid to stick with a design for a few generations if it means perfecting it. They're meticulous about the user experience, sweating the small details that most people wouldn't even notice. And in a mature market, where consumers are less concerned with having the absolute newest, flashiest tech, that attention to detail, that focus on quality and reliability, makes a huge difference. People are holding onto their phones for longer, which means they want a device that's going to last, a device that's going to continue to be supported with software updates for years to come. And Apple has a proven track record of doing just that. They're still supporting iPhones that are years old with the latest software updates, something that's practically unheard of in the Android world, and that longevity, that commitment to supporting their products, breeds trust and loyalty among consumers. In a mature market, it's not about winning over new customers with flashy gimmicks. It's about keeping the ones you have happy, about giving them a reason to upgrade to the next iPhone instead of jumping ship to a competitor. One of Apple's most intriguing strategies is their approach to new features. They're not always the first to market with the latest and greatest tech, and you know what? That's perfectly okay. In fact, it's often to their advantage. See, while other companies are rushing to cram every new feature under the sun into their devices, Apple takes a more measured approach. They're not afraid to wait, to observe, to see how a particular technology develops before integrating it into their products. And when they do finally release a new feature, you can bet it's going to be well thought out, well executed, and most importantly, it's going to. They're masters of refinement, of taking an existing technology and perfecting it, making it feel seamless and intuitive. This strategy allows them to avoid costly missteps and ensures that when they do introduce a new feature, it's something that genuinely enhances the user experience. It's about quality over quantity, about making sure that every new addition to their devices serves a purpose and adds value. This approach also plays into Apple's long-term vision. They're not just thinking about the next product cycle, they're thinking years ahead. They're building a cohesive ecosystem of devices and services, and they're carefully considering how each new feature fits into that larger vision. Okay, let's talk about the walled garden, Apple's tight control over its ecosystem. Now, I know this is something that Android users love to criticize, and yeah, there are valid arguments on both sides. But here's the thing. This control, this closed ecosystem, is actually one of Apple's biggest strengths. Here's why. It allows Apple to deliver a consistent, seamless, and secure user experience across all of its devices. They control the hardware, the software, and the services, which means they can optimize every aspect of the user experience down to the smallest detail. This results in a level of polish and refinement that's hard to match, especially in the fragmented Android world, where you have countless manufacturers using different versions of the operating system, different skins, and different hardware. Think about it like this. Apple's ecosystem is like a beautifully manicured garden. Everything is in its place, everything works together harmoniously, and the overall experience is controlled and curated. Now, some people prefer the freedom and flexibility of an open ecosystem like Android, and that's totally valid. But for a lot of users, especially those who aren't particularly tech-savvy, the simplicity and ease of use that comes with Apple's walled garden is a major selling point. It just works. You don't have to worry about compatibility issues, you don't have to tinker with settings, and you don't have to worry as much about security vulnerabilities. And let's not forget about Apple's App Store. By carefully curating the apps available in their store, Apple can ensure a certain level of quality and security. Yes, it means that developers have to play by Apple's rules, but it also means that users are less likely to encounter buggy or malicious apps. Let's talk pricing. Apple products are expensive, there's no way around it. But here's the thing, that high price is a strategic decision, and it's a big part of what makes Apple, well, Apple. First and foremost, the high price reinforces Apple's brand image. It positions them as a premium brand, a cut above the rest. And as we discussed earlier, that perception of exclusivity is a powerful motivator for consumers. When you buy an Apple product, you're not just buying a device, you're buying into a lifestyle, a statement. You're saying, I appreciate quality, I value design, and I'm willing to pay a premium for it. But it's not just about perception. The high price also allows Apple to invest heavily in research and development, which in turn leads to innovation, even if it's not always immediately apparent. They can afford to take risks, to experiment with new technologies and materials, and to create products that push the boundaries of what's possible. And while those innovations might not always be revolutionary, they often trickle down to the rest of the industry, raising the bar for everyone. Furthermore, the high price creates a sense of value. When you pay a premium for something, you expect it to be exceptional, and Apple delivers on that expectation. Their products are beautifully designed, meticulously engineered, and built to last. They're not just slapping together cheap components and calling it a day. They're using high-quality materials, investing in rigorous testing, and sweating the small details that most companies wouldn't even think about. And that attention to detail, that commitment to quality, is reflected in the price. So, while some people might scoff at the high cost of Apple products, it's important to remember that you get what you pay for. With Apple, you're paying for more than just a device. You're paying for a premium experience, for the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're getting the best of the best. Now, let's face it, no discussion of Apple's success would be complete without acknowledging the role of external factors. Sometimes it's not just about what you do, it's about what's happening around you. And in Apple's case, several external factors have played in their favor in recent years. One of the most significant is the decline of Huawei. Huawei, once a rising star in the smartphone world, was hit hard by US sanctions, which crippled their ability to produce high-end phones. This created a void in the market, particularly in the premium segment where Huawei was a major player. And who was best positioned to fill that void? You guessed it, Apple. With Huawei out of the picture, many consumers looking for a premium Android alternative were left with few options. Samsung, while still a formidable competitor, didn't quite have the same brand cachet as Huawei in certain markets. This gave Apple an opportunity to swoop in and capture a larger share of the premium market, further solidifying their position as the go-to brand for high-end smartphones. Beyond Huawei, the global chip shortage also played a role. The shortage, which affected the entire tech industry, hit smaller manufacturers harder than larger ones like Apple. Apple's sheer size and buying power gave them an advantage in securing the chips they needed to keep producing iPhones, while smaller companies struggled to keep up with demand. This allowed Apple to maintain production levels and even gain market share as competitors faltered. And let's not forget about the ongoing uncertainty in the global economy. In times of economic uncertainty, consumers tend to gravitate towards brands they know and trust. Brands with a proven track record of quality and reliability. And once again, Apple fits the bill perfectly. Their strong brand reputation, their history of innovation, and their commitment to customer satisfaction make them a safe bet for consumers who are feeling uncertain about the future. So, while Apple's internal strategies and product decisions have undoubtedly contributed to their success, it's important to acknowledge the role of these external factors. So, there you have it. 9 key reasons why iPhones continue to win, even in a challenging market. We've covered a lot of ground, from global economic trends to Apple's own strategic decisions, and it's clear that their success is the result of a multifaceted approach. It's about understanding consumer psychology, about creating a brand that people aspire to be a part of, and about delivering a product experience that lives up to the hype. But it's also about adapting to a changing market, about understanding the needs of a mature consumer base, and about playing the long game. Apple's not afraid to stick to their guns, to do things their own way, even if it means going against the grain. They're patient, they're calculated, and they're always thinking several steps ahead. And that long-term vision, that unwavering commitment to their own philosophy, is what sets them apart in a crowded and constantly evolving industry. So, we've looked at the global income effect, the aspirational brand image, the power of Apple's ecosystem, their approach to mature markets, their feature release strategy, their control over the user experience, their pricing strategy, and the influence of external factors. That's a lot to unpack. If you stuck around this long, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into the tech world. We're always exploring the trends, shaping the industry and the products we use every day. But now I want to hear from you. Which of these 9 factors do you think is the driver of Apple's success? Let me know in the comments. Let's get a discussion going.